Alright, so, hey, that's not very good. It's like looking up, but at least it's charging. You can see the roof of my car more. I can always... Anyway, what's up there, YouTube? So, I'm going live here because I'm on my way to, let me turn this temperature up so I don't have, so it's not so much noise. Anyway, I'm headed out to visit friends that I haven't seen in years up in Atlanta, north of Atlanta. Anyway, and I just thought I was sitting here thinking about the Nikon Z9. You know, I can't help it. I'm driving and I'm thinking about cameras and I'm thinking about gear and I'm thinking about different stuff. What is that dark spot? Did I miss a spot there? No, just a shadow. I'm looking at it in the camera. I'm using the front-facing camera on my cell phone because I can go live with it while I'm on it, so it's just easier. Anyway, so I was thinking about the new Nikon Z9, and I was also thinking about how when the D850 came out, the camera above it was the D5 or the D5S. I think it was just the D5. They came out with the D5 first, and then right when they came out with the D850, they came out with the D5S. I think. I'm pretty sure. Either way, the D850 was basically the little brother to the D5. So the D5 was the sports and wildlife pro camera, extra rugged body, you know, fully waterproof, not just a little, like ridiculous, almost indestructible. And then the D850 was the little brother to it. It didn't have a built-in battery grip. The D5 has the built-in battery grip. It didn't have the, you know, it didn't have quite as good a weather. It was weather sealed, but not like to the level of the D5. It wasn't as fast frame rate as the D5. The D5 just had things for sports and wildlife that was more advanced than the D850. So the D850 is arguably one of the best DSLRs, if not the best DSLR ever created. I had a D850 for a little while. I really didn't need it because I changed over to mirrorless at the same time. But it was an incredible camera. And the D500 was incredible because it was the DX version of the D850. So I'm hoping, right? I'm hoping that what happens is Nikon releases the Z9, which is the replacement to the D6, which they've already said is the replacement to the D6. They've so much as said so. So it's a replacement to the Z6, or the D6 is the Z9. All these Z's and D's and everything, confusing. The Z9. So if that's the replacement, then we should be seeing a Z850, like a D850, but in the Z world, so a Z8. We should be seeing a Z8 camera from Nikon, which is basically the same thing as that we did with the D850. I'm gonna put this back down here because it's more about the conversation than it is about what I'm saying. Plus it charges. I've got a little charger thing. I can just put it like that so you guys can still see me. Anyway, so there's nobody in here anyway. I'm talking to myself for this whole time. But you guys can watch it later. So that's important. Anyway, I don't like that I'm looking down because I can see my chin. Anyway, so, but I have a phone mount here in my, it's not here, and I'm here talking to you guys. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on about this. A Z8, which would be the D850 replacement, the final replacement to the D850. And I think that's why they came out with the Z6 and Z7, and they never really said the Z7 was the same level as the D850. They hinted towards it and insinuated that it was like the D850, but I don't think they really thought that. I think they came out with one as close as they could get in a mirrorless version of a D850 at the time, but I don't think they invested the resources and the R&D into a D850 replacement in the mirrorless world, because you got to think, at that time, it was right when mirrorless cameras were getting popular. I mean, as far as for Canon and Nikon, and Sony had already been in it for a while, but of the big players in the DSLR market. Where am I going? Yeah, I don't know. I'm driving. I'm going to Atlanta. I said it at the beginning of the video, but there was nobody in here. I'm going to Atlanta. I'm on a trip to North Georgia to visit with my friends that I used to play in a band with, that I grew up with and stuff. We're having we were supposed to have like when we turned 40 something, we were going to all get back together, but that came and went. So now we're just on we're just doing it now. So we're late. We're in our 50s now. So at least we finally did it. We finally decided to all get back together and see what's going on. What's going on, Glenn? Oh man, the Horizon's awesome. That thing is smoking. That is fast. That thing's fast. I haven't had any problem. It has the typical Ryzen glitches, but I haven't seen the USB glitch. We used to have a glitch in the USB drives. You're at work goofing off? You'd be at work goofing off. You need to be working. Anyway, the Ryzen's had a glitch, and my version, the first version, had it, where it would drop the USB once in a while. Like, you just have the USB plugged in, and it would just drop out once in a while. It wasn't very often. Sometimes it would do it. Like, if you were transferring files or something, sometimes the USB would drop out. And I would, always say, well, maybe it's the device or something like that. But it did it with different devices and different things. I haven't had that happen at all. So hopefully I'm sure they fixed the USB in newer versions. But that was really the only thing. And the other thing that Ryzen's are notorious for is hibernate and sleep mode. Sometimes they won't wake up from it. They just don't. I don't know if it's a Microsoft thing or if it's a motherboard BIOS thing, but I haven't had one that would, like, if you put it to sleep mode, if it completely goes to sleep, sometimes you'll move the mouse or move something to have it wake back up, and like the keyboard will light up, and the monitor will like turn on, but it doesn't turn all the way on. It just stays black. Like, you have to manually restart the computer. So I just make it where it doesn't go to sleep, and I just put a screensaver on, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't use a lot of power anyway if it's not running something. So it's not a big deal. But I always forgot to do that. I had to do that on the new one too. They don't like sleep modes very much. Anyway, so back to my discussion. I was talking about what I think the Z8 will be. We're already looking ahead to the Z9 has been shown at the Olympics and stuff, and it's supposed to be ridiculously fast and everything. I'm sure it is. They've got to do something to catch back up. But the other thing I think is, since they came out with like the D850, they have a crop sensor, the Z5, and they came out with another crop sensor, the ZFC, but they haven't came out with like a pro version of a DX crop. They might. My dream is that they'll come out with like a Z500 or a Z. They already have the Z50, maybe like the Z50 Mark II, like the newer version that is more professional, like geared more towards professionals. I think that'd be kind of neat, because people still, the DX crop, you had the D500, which is an awesome camera. It was a crop sensor version of a D850, basically. So I think that would be kind of cool if they came out with something like that. But on the other thing is the Z8. I think the Z8 will be probably around 60 megapixels and get like 30 frames per second with no blackout. Like the sound. I think it'll be the answer to the A1, the Sony A1. It's going to be a late answer, because they're probably going to come out with the A1 Mark II soon anyway. Before probably beginning of the year. Sony comes out with new cameras every 6 months, it seems. That's the only thing I dislike about. I like Sony, but the thing I dislike about them is they tend to drop products and then just, instead of fixing or doing minor things to fix, like in software, the products that they have, they just come out with a new version. So in order to get it, you got to upgrade to the new version of the camera. Like, it'll have one feature missing, and then they'll just change it, and now you got to get the new version of the camera. And they release new versions of the camera like every year. So you don't know which version they're on. I can't keep up with the different versions. They're on Sony Alpha 8, A7, R4 or something. I don't know which one they're on now. They have so many. You like looking up my nose? Hey Glenn, do you like looking up my nose? Anyway, me and my friends, we're gonna go fishing and stuff. Yeah, you like looking up my nose. Yeah, great. I like looking up your nose. Well, at least if you're having some time off, you can be, if you're there at work, you can be glancing at my nostrils. Anyway, so I was just thinking about it. I was sitting here driving and I thought, I should see if I can go live on YouTube and plug in my Purple Panda microphone, which is right there, and see if it sounds better than, just going through on a phone. I'm using the front-facing camera, so it's just 720 or whatever, 1080p or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't really matter for a streaming video anyways. Probably streams better at a lower res. I don't care. Not for a live video. But it's cool that I can go live. I don't know. What's the quality look like? Let me lift it up. What's the quality of that look like? Does it look fairly clear? Is it washed out? Does the stream look good? I can't tell what the stream looks like from here. I got camera gear and fishing gear back there. Oh, so I got pixelated. It could be my connection. I'm driving, so there's an area just north of where I live that the signal drops out. Just south of St. Augustine. I'm in St. Augustine right now. So I'm headed up towards St. Augustine, headed up towards Jacksonville. I'm going to stay heading up towards Savannah side. Go up Savannah and cut across. I'm going to Cleveland, Georgia. That's where my buddy Chris lives. He's the CFO of VP Racing Fuels. He goes to all the motorcycle racing and car racing and stuff. He gets on there and announces, start your engines and stuff. He gets on that mic and announces it. He's always been into that stuff. He worked for Pirelli. He used to live down here in Jacksonville. I came down to visit him once when he lived down in Jacksonville before he got married. But he got married, he moved out to Texas, and then he moved away. And he's got a house up on a lake up in Cleveland, Georgia, up in the mountains, like 15 minutes from Suches, Georgia, which is where we used to ride motorcycles all the time. So, oh crap, I didn't bring any of my motorcycle gear to try. He's got a couple motorcycles. We probably won't go ride. I'll just look. I'll check it out. Oh, about a camera rental? Yeah, I rent cameras. I rent stuff from Lens Rentals. The smart thing, if you're thinking of buying a camera, that's the smartest way to go, is to rent a camera. Go rent like Lens Rentals. You can rent cameras fairly cheap at Lens Rentals, or I think Borrow Lens is another one. You can rent them for $100 or something for the weekend and try it out and see how you like the camera before you go buying it. I did that with a bunch of different, especially with lenses. I rented the. Oh, you used them before? You're just going to rent another one? Well, you're not going to rent the Panasonic, are you? I remember you rented the Panasonics, didn't you? I think you rented the Panasonics. Anyway, I rented the 85 1.8 Z lens, and I liked it so much I bought it because I was like, this thing's fantastic, especially for photos. It's just fantastic. It's great for video too, but for photos, it was really, really great lens. The Z lenses are all, I haven't had any, I don't think there's a bad Z lens. Oh yeah, the Sony AX100. That little Sony AX100 is a fantastic little camera. I love that thing. I should have never sold mine because I just figured I was shooting with the DSLRs. I wanted to keep them all the same, but that Sony was a fantastic little camera. It had the little Bluetooth wireless microphone that went on the top, and you didn't have to have any wires and plugged it in. That was a great idea too, but it just wasn't quite strong enough. I noticed that a couple times if I was shooting a groom and he was up at the thing, if the pack was in the front and he turned away from me, then it would, like, I'd get some choppiness. So I put the camera on the other side where he'd be facing the camera. But even then, if it was too far, I would get some interference. It needed a better, it was decent, but it was good for like this, or like if you were making videos for yourself and you weren't going to be but 20 feet from the camera or something. That Bluetooth thing was fantastic, but other than that, it wasn't. I wonder who else is in here watching. Anyway, I like the little AX100. It was a good, and the focus was fantastic. But of course, it had, I don't know what the lens was, f3.5 to something. It was like, so most things would be in focus anyway, like a cell phone or something like that. So it didn't really have shallow depth of field, so missing focus wasn't a big deal for that camera. Although it did focus really well. It grabbed your face pretty good. The little AX100. I'm still a moderator on the AX100 group on Facebook. I started the group on Facebook like 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm still on there on Facebook on the group. Anyway, so back to the conversation about the Nikon. So I think it'll be like I think the Z8 will be coming up, and it will be basically a Z9 without the battery grip, and it will have more megapixels, probably like a 60 megapixel, something like that, and it'll have the ability to shoot in a lower megapixel at higher frame rate. But I think they'll be able to do 30 frames per second with no blackout on a 60 megapixel sensor, and it'll basically be the final nail in the coffin to the D850, which is a fantastic camera anyway. It was ridiculous. It's my favorite DSLR ever. They came out with a Z780, I think, after that. Didn't they come out with a Z780? It was like blind. Like it had some mirrorless, but it was a DSLR, which is a weird. It didn't interest me that much. I was already in the Z line, so I didn't really want to go back to an F mount DSLR type of camera. What would use 1080, 60, 4K? For what? What would use it for what? What's the application? What are you going to use it for? You talking about on the AX100? I don't know what the application's for. My phone that I'm filming this with is, just general shooting? I shoot everything in 4K. I shoot everything in 4K. So then I have the ability to crop in if I want, or scale it down to 1080 for really clear 1080. But I shoot everything in 4K. I shoot anything action. I shoot 4K 30 because I'm fine with it. If I want to slow it a little bit, I can, and I don't mind it looking kind of video-ish for my 4K stuff. But for like weddings and events, I shoot 4K 24p. I shoot everything in 24p for cinematic 24K look, except for stuff that I'm shooting on a gimbal or a Steadicam or something like that. And then I shoot, right now I shoot 1080, 120 frames per second on a gimbal, so I can slow it down and get those dramatic shots. But I slow it down to 24p because I put it on 24p timeline and scale it up. You can't really tell that much. I mean, it looks good. I would like to have 4K 120 frames per second, which I think is what the Z8 will have, and the Z9 will have 4K at 120 and 8K. I don't foresee shooting 8K for a while. I have 8K on my phone. I tried it. I looked at it. It's a neat gimmick. I'm not going to use it. I'm just not going to use it right away. Yeah, I want 4K 120 frames per second, so I don't have to change the resolution. I can just get my slow motion shots, or not really slow motion. I'm not trying to go for a slow motion shot, but when I'm shooting a gimbal, I'm shooting an artistic motion around somebody, and I want it to look, real smooth and slow it down, and it works for that. I usually change it on the fly. I use the I menu on the back, hit it, change the resolution, hit the I menu again, and go back. I got a quick way of swapping from one to the next on the Z series cameras. Super handy. I think I'm supposed to go straight through town here. That's what I'm gonna do. I need to get off of here and go and put my directions in. I need to see which way I was supposed to go here. I think I just stay on 95. I know I can just stay on 95 north right here. I got too accustomed to using my GPS for driving. Anyway, I'm gonna get off of here real quick. So basically, I think it will be the Z8 will be a Z9 without the battery grip, without quite the ruggedness stuff, and some other stuff. Anyway, so I was just doing this as a test to see how the live footage looks. I'll holler at you guys later. See ya.